Hey there guys, how's it going? I'm Corey, this is the How to Adult Show, and today we're going to talk about my least favorite money mindset book that I still see recommended all the time, as well as the newer and more up-to-date book that I think we should all be reading and sharing and recommending to one another instead. Before I get started though, I'm really curious to see how many of you agree with me, because I think this is going to be a bit controversial. And I wanted to do a little poll. So if you're watching the video and if you agree with what I'm saying, I want you to go ahead and hit the like button on the video. And if you disagree, I want you to go ahead and hit the dislike button on the video, which I know isn't YouTube practice, but whatever, that's okay. I think that it would be kind of fun to use it as a poll sort of situation. And also, while you're down there hovering around the like and dislike button trying to make up your mind, just go ahead and click the big red subscribe button while you're there. You're already there. Just do it. Hit subscribe. That'll be awesome. And then we can get started. And yeah, I'm super interested to see how the poll goes. Before we dive in though, I want to say a quick hello and welcome to the How to Adult Show. I'm your host, Corey Fowler, and this is your source for all the important adulting life skills, like personal finance, that you wish someone had just taught you in school. So make sure you hit subscribe and let's get started. So to be clear, I'm not a huge advocate of much money mindset stuff because I often feel like it glosses over the hard skills you need of managing your finances like an actual adult. Yes, it's important to make sure that you don't have a messed up relationship with money, sure, but without actually putting in the time and the work to understanding things like budgeting or interest rates or investing, money mindset won't actually carry you too far on its own. That being said, it is an important piece of the overall puzzle, and I wanted to make this video because I absolutely cannot stand the book that we always see recommended to people as the #1 money mindset book to read. And that book that absolutely drives me up the wall is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. When you Google best money mindset book, this is the top product that appears all the time. And if you start clicking on the web pages below, you'll see that Think and Grow Rich appears on every single list. And you'll often see it called a must-read classic absolutely everywhere. Now, this isn't a bad book. No hate for the wisdom of Napoleon Hill. How could I? Even his name sounds qualified to teach finance, Napoleon Hill. I've gone through this book twice. I read it a few years ago, and more recently, I listened to it again in audiobook form. And the overall message of this book is tried and true, absolutely. It basically says over and over again that to succeed, you need to create a burning desire to achieve what you want, back it up with some unwavering faith that you'll achieve this, and then go at it relentlessly without ever stopping with a Niagara Falls in a barrel, going hell-bent for glory kind of attitude. And I can't argue with that. Based on experience, this is generally a pretty good formula for succeeding with things. My issue with the book arises from the fact that it was first circulated back in 1937. And while that might make it a classic, sure, it also makes it dated as all get the heck out. It's not a bad book, but in my opinion, there are so many other fantastic money mindset books that say the exact same thing, but in a more modern way that's much more inclusive and uplifting and easier to read, and that don't in the process manage to offend everybody and anybody other than straight white men. This is clearly a book that made waves in its time, but there's a reason that value villages everywhere are filled with copies of it that nobody buys anymore. It's old, it's dusty, it's dated, and I vote that we replace it with a new one. And so, get into the good stuff. The book that I vote we should all start reading and sharing and recommending to one another instead of Think and Grow Rich is You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. So basically, first reason is because Jen Sincero, easy for me to say, is hilarious. She's been making waves in the self-help world for a while now with her writing, and I was so thrilled when she came out with You Are a Badass at Making Money My best friend actually knew this and got me a copy of the book right away, and I devoured it. And I don't usually love money mindset books, but I was a big fan of this one. I read it cover to cover more than once, and I'm a giant nerd, so I actually did all of the exercises at the end of each chapter. So as someone who got the whole entire book experience, I can categorically say that I loved it. Jen definitely talks about the importance of pursuing your dreams and goals and aspirations with a hell-bent for glory kind of attitude, same as the other one. And then there's so much more in this book as well. Her writing is peppy. I think that's the only word I can use to describe it. Peppy. There's got to be a better word for that. Her tone is personable and down to earth, and it's a finance book that actually makes you want to laugh, which is like a friggin' unicorn. When was the last time you laughed at a finance book? And she takes a new and original approach to some of the classic messages and stories that back them up. Instead of telling the story of Henry Ford and his single-minded determination for his engineers to create a new engine if he screamed at them enough, she tells the story of some goats that she babysat and how she envied and modeled her life after their single-minded determination to break out of their pastures and rampage through the town and destroy her car joyfully every single day. It's a good one. She shares so many inspiring stories and lessons from her own life, her own late in life, living in a garage, rags to riches story. And she's just endlessly positive and inspiring and practical. And most importantly for this kind of book, doesn't come across as too woo-woo, which a lot of mindset stuff does. Plus, it's a short book, so it's easy to pick it up again and again and just read a random chapter when you need to get re-inspired again later. So that's my 2 cents on both books. Again, I am super curious to see how many of you agree with me on this and how many of you disagree. So if you haven't voted yet, if you agree and think that You're a Badass at Making Money should replace Think and Grow Rich as the most highly recommended money mindset book, not finance book in general, there's a big difference there, but money mindset book, hit the like button below the video. If you disagree, and I know some people out there are going to feel very strongly about this because there's a huge following for Think and Grow Rich. If you disagree and think that that book is always and will always be the classic Bible of money mindset training, hit the dislike button. I don't think that that's what these buttons are meant for on YouTube. We'll see what it does to the algorithm. Maybe it'll be great. But I thought that it would be more fun for this episode to be a poll, and this seemed like a good way of doing it. Or you can use the comments, but no, stick with the likes. We've already done that. So if you enjoyed this episode, I actually have a whole resource library over on the How to Adult School website that has a list of the top finance books that I recommend. If you're interested in checking that out, the link to the website is in the description below. While you're down there looking for it, also check out the link to sign up for our newsletter. That's a really great way to stay in touch and to know when any new episodes are coming out, as well as get other insider tips and tricks and leads and finance information and things like that. So make sure you're subscribed, sign up to the mailing list, and that way I will get to see you right back here next Monday with a brand new episode of the How to Adult Show.